Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this evening's performance by the English Civil War Society here at the National Museum St Fagans. What happened on these very fields you are looking at 368 years ago? It was here that was fought probably the largest battle on Welsh soil. Was brought to an end when Parliament had created a new army. While this discussion was going on in 1648, the supporters of the King started the Second Civil War. There were uprisings in the southeast, in Kent and Essex, an uprising in the north where the Scots and the Royalist army invaded England. Parliament tried to storm Pembroke. Though it managed to take the town briefly, it was never able to take the castle and had to pull its troops out. And so he put what troops he had here, hoping for reinforcements from the rest of the country. Several actions outside Carmarthen, moving towards the last main government stronghold, which was Cardiff. The Royalist rebels, now under command of Major General Langern, fought their way across South Wales, hoping to be able to stop the rebel attack. And that is what we show you here now. Over on the right, Houghton and his parliamentarians numbered somewhere in the region of 3,000 men. The rebel forces attacking them, 8,000. And at the bottom side of the hill, the red coats of Poyer and Powell, the turncoat new model regiments. Their colours in front of their men, taunting the enemy. Passing orders, getting them to carry out the orders received was extremely difficult. There's a small group of rebel cavalry there, swinging round the side of the parliamentary forces. They're not in significant numbers to significantly worry the parliamentary defenders. But if Langern is able, he will try and use his cavalry in conjunction with his infantry. Moving forward to confront the Royalists. Long range, little chance of doing any damage at this distance. The rebels need to keep their advance going. They need to continue. You can see the front ranks. And most battles of this with long range infantry fire, supported, confident enough to move forward. Horse moving in to try and disrupt the parliamentarian fight. The big problem that infantry have in this period is that they can fight against other infantry or they can fight against cavalry, but they can't do this both at the same time. It requires different tactics. Fortunately, there are not enough rebel cavalry really to cause great issue to the parliamentarian foot. And the large artillery battery at the extreme rear of the parliamentarian line firing now. They'll be firing up at the troops up on the hill. designed to pitch in front of a group of soldiers and bounce through them, taking out an entire file of men as they go. At closer range, they'll fire canister to a giant shotgun. And also over on the left, the redcoats of Poyer and Powell starting to move in. So the first attack by the rebels has been driven off. See the pike tips coming down on the defending infantry, trying to hold off the cavalry, force them away. Officers scampering back. Distance. Pretty much shooting from that distance is a waste of powder. They are not going to hit a thing. And with the larger force now facing them, the parliamentarians pulling back into a standard line. A lot of taunting going on. Effectively, you're trying to gee up your own men to improve their morale, to make them feel a lot more confident about being out there. And over on the far side of the field, elements of both sides of the fight flashing. Save their weapon into the face of the opposition. But with large numbers, what quickly happened is the weapons get pushed up into the air and you effectively get a giant rugby scrum. And they would just try and push each other over and back. Nobody wants to lose a push. The turn beside the barrier here, you're going to have much function. And now, Langan finally. Tell one side from another, having to readjust his line to swing round to face the newly positioned. Being readjusted here.
keep the thing warm.
Both sides now are adjusting their lines. And more light artillery being pushed up onto the far flank of the parliamentarian line to protect that end. The cavalry going in to disrupt the movement. Parliamentarian line now moving forward. An absolute pain for the parliamentarians. Every time they try and move, the cavalry sweeps down. It stops them moving. They have to turn to fend off the cavalry.
Surrender.
Rebel forces and caused them disarray. The fact that Langherne has had to concentrate in one direction and switch direction is quite difficult, particularly for untrained men. And now looks like a general attack going in from the rebels. And this is looking really, really dangerous for the parliamentarians now. There's not. again of his troops. Get his men sorted out and be ready to push back in again.
This is about pulling.
Parliamentarian left now, it's new model regiments. Now these guys, they will be shot. Turncoats were not tolerated. Again, remember, he does not have to push the... Having manoeuvred another attack, the flank of the... they're now having to fall back. You realise they probably need to pull out. It looks like another brief respite while again both sides starting to reform their line. Horton's parliamentarians need to readjust themselves as they've got a unit committed right over. Kerry moving in to try and stop that attack, or the reinforcement of that attack. Looks like the rebel centre starting to move forward again. And the parliamentaries bringing their guns up in closer. The rebel attack in the centre is being held. And they're all rather defensive what's going to happen on the far side, over on the rebel left. The parliamentarian lines are well and truly shattered at the moment, but the rebels are in no position to take advantage of it. Himself a bit of room to reform his line. Rebels starting to retreat. The parliamentarian officer this was a relatively common occurrence in the middle of battles in the 17th century. You would stop and have a chat. Basically, one side's going to boast to the other, we're beating you, it's time for you to run away, and the other one would say, no, it's not, and so on. Sometimes it did result in one side or the other retiring, but mostly not. It usually ends up in a bit of shouting at each other. Well, clearly the parliamentarians are considering fighting on. See, the musketeers close to you here have reversed their muskets. They are using them as clubs. Oh, and it's had an effect. It looks like the red-coated rebels have had enough. They're turning and fleeing. Rebel cavalry moving down to try and stop the advance, but I don't think they're going to manage to do that this time. And the whole rebel army is breaking. Here and there a unit trying to make a stand, but the large part of the rebel army is fleeing across the hill. As the parliamentary forces were in, I can do one thing which was impossible back 360 odd years ago, and say, let the dead arise. The Rhino, of course, are dead. The parliamentary force drawing up in front of you, what they're going to do is to give you a general east of England. The rebellion was quickly crushed and finally defeated at the siege of Colchester. The army now realised it could not trust the king, and it called for the king to be put on trial. A tremendous time here. Thank you very much and good evening.
No, they're all dead.
Measure him up. It's fading.
Wait for that body.
That's right, you're fit.